Yes, we'll see what is the meaning of partitioning. What is the meaning of partitioning means you have a physical hard disk, divide a hard disk into small parts logically. So this is called a partitioning. Okay. Just for example, you got a new laptop, so that is having a only C drive and some D drive, and there is a unallocated space. Okay, you have a unallocated space there. In that one, you can create another drive, or maybe it is look like this one. So, for example, you have a 500 GB hard disk. Entire your C drive is given for a 500 GB, or maybe like it is a 400 GB for C drive, 100 GB for a D drive, 100 GB for a. Now I want to take a partition from the C drive. There is 300 GB free, 300 GB free in this 400 GB. Out of 400, 300 GB free space is there. I don't want all 300. I want a 200 disk space required. Out of 400, 300 is free. Out of 300, 200, I want to create a new drive. I want to take it out of this C drive. As I'm telling again, C drive is 400 GB. Big drive it is 400 GB total. But out of 400, 300 GB is free. Means 100 GB already data is there. Out of 300 GB means out of this 300 GB free space means out of 400 only 300 free space. Out of 300 I want to take 200 GB separately. Means C drive become 200 GB. The C drive earlier. Now the C drive is become 200 GB. Okay, and there is a 200 GB unallocated. In 200 GB, you can create multiple partitions, or you can create as a single partition also. Like 100 plus 100 you can create it, 50 plus 150 you can create it, a 50, 50, 50 you can create it, depends upon your MBR or GPT, primary partition, logical partition kind of stuff. But this is, we call it as a shrinking volume. Shrink volume. What is shrink volume? Out of the data, how much in a drive based on the free space of the drive. So in the free space of the drive, you take some volume out, cut some volume from it. The free space, you cut a certain part out. So that is called a shrinking. Actually, C got shrink, right? Earlier it is 400 GB. Now it is 200 GB. So C got a shrinking. We are shrinking the C volume by cutting the free space out. Okay. So that is a very simple in the disk management. So this is shrinking volume, and I will tell other volumes also, extended volume kind of stuff. This is shrinking volume. Now, for example, you have a C drive, you have a 200 GB drive, and there is a 100 GB D drive is there, for example. And here I have a 200 GB unallocated space is there. Unallocated means nothing is there inside. And nothing. This unallocated space. Is a 200 GB allocated space. Okay. Now I want to add 50 GB from this unallocated to this D drive, then D drive become 150. This is, we call it as a extended volume. Extend, volume extension means we are extending D drive by adding additional space from the unallocated space which is next to the drive. Okay. So shrinking volume, extending volume. For example, you have E drive. Now no longer require this E drive, then you can delete the E drive, deleting volume. So last time someone asked me a question, what is the use of this disk management, meaning is what? Guys, we can do disk management using a command called a DISKPART command. Simply go to the CMD command prompt. Now open, it is right click, run as administrator. Okay, so DASKPART, spelling mistake. It's a disk management. It is a disk management. So list disk. It shows what are the disks you have. I have a two disk 0 and disk 1. Disk 0 is a GPT type and disk 1 is not a GPT type. That's it, star is showing. And it is not a dynamic disk. I can do so many things, but this is one of the disk management command. Also, you can go to Diskmgmt.msc. You can open the run. Okay, type Diskmgmt.msc like this. Click OK. See, this is a disk also showing and partitions you can able to see. Okay, you add a new hard disk, so it will ask for a initialize the disk kind of stuff you have to tell. Okay, that's it. Okay, you can do initializing disk. You can make a disk is offline, online, convert a basic disk to dynamic disk. You can able to do it. Okay, like this. Basic disk to dynamic disk, you can convert it. Don't convert it, guys. It is very dangerous. You can convert into MBR to GPT kind of stuff possible. Second one is you can do partition magic kind of stuff, like new simple volumes, sync and extended and delete the volumes. That is, I will show you first, guys. This is my H drive, and here it is this PC. Can you see the H drive having a 92.3 GB free space? Of course, my F drive having a 102 GB, E drive having 76 GB free space. See, the total drive capacity is 531, and after that one, so much of data is already consumed. So 92.3 GB free space is there. Out of this 92.3 free disk space, I will cut some part like a 40 GB. So right click on H drive, shrink volume. Okay, the total space is around a 94 something number is showing. It is around a 92 GB free space is there. So you can able to shrink that much volume, almost like a 90 GB volume. We can able to shrink it. 90 GB volume we can able to shrink it, means we can cut from the H drive and H drive becomes smaller. What I'm doing is I don't take it. I will take only 40960, means only 40 GB I'm taking. So 50 GB we are leaving to the H drive out of 90. Okay, so 40 GB only we are taking separately. Shrink volume. Yeah, it is worked today very faster. It is H drive size is reduced. Okay, you can see from here also. Just refresh this. It is earlier it is showing 92 GB free space. Now it is 52 GB free space. And the total capacity also reduced. It is 513 earlier, now it is 491. Means 40 GB size is reduced from H drive. Now it is a 40 GB free space. As I said earlier, guys, it is a MBR type of disk. In MBR, three primaries completed. The fourth partition is extended. In extended, it is a logical partition. The three primaries are completed. Here in this unallocated, I want to create a partition. It's not showing anything primary or secondary part. It is asking only simple volume only. So I'm going to create a 10 GB volume. Look at here. 10 GB means 10240. 1024 MB means GB and 10 GB means 10240. Format this volume with the following settings. Okay, so file system, NTFS or file system. I use a default only, nothing, no difference, nothing. I'm not doing anything. Simply 10 GB volume I want to create. I didn't say any place is a primary or a extended or a logical drive. But once three primary completed, fourth one automatically go to logical drive in the extended partitions. It is this border color is thick green. It is extended partition. The light green one is a free space and this light blue one is logical drive. See it is H drive is created, 10 GB drive, 30 GB free space is available. This is the drive. You can put a data in it. Like this, you can create a multiple partitions. So two drives I created. One is 10 GB, 20 GB. Out of this 40 GB free space, and now it is 10 GB available. Still 10 GB available. So I created a drives also. Yes, it is a 10 GB drive. This is 20 GB drive I created. So still I have a free space. I can create a one single 10 GB or a multiple drives like a 4 GB, 2 GB like that also I can create. Guys, understand disk management, like how to create a partition, shrink volume, extended volume. I didn't show you extended volume, right? I will show you now. So this is extended volume. This is 20 GB. This is 10 GB. I will add some 4 GB to 20 GB. From 10, I will add 4 GB. Extend volume. This is total 10 GB available. I will put a 4 GB, 4096. It is, see, 20 GB become 24 GB, 10 GB free space become 6 GB. So I added a 4 GB from there to here. Okay, so this is called a extend volume. Shrink means reducing, extend means increasing. But so we can shrink the volume if the volume is free volume is there, means free disk space. From that one we can able to shrink it. Extend volume means any free space is next to this drive, we can add the some space from there to here, or total space also you can able to add it. I can take 6 GB also, I can add it to this 24. Okay. The last one is deleting volume. So I deleted these volumes, so you can try, you can see where is I and J gone. This is still extended partition. You can create a new simple volume, then inside it will create it. or you can delete this one, then it is become single unallocated. Now I want to add this 40 GB to this H drive as it shows as earlier. So I'm adding H drive, right click, extend volume, then it is showing our 40 GB, next finish. So entire 40 GB I'm adding. Now H drive become full 531 GB as is shows as earlier, and 92 GB free space. Okay, this is your disk management. So I showed new simple volume, shrinking, extending and deleting. And also you can do certain write volumes in the disk management window. Like a simple volume, what we have created a partition, that is simple volume. Expand volume, stripped volume, mirror and write 5. So I will show you this is, we don't have a space right here. Simple volume, spanned volume, stripped volume, other options are not showing. Because home edition, right? So just I try to show you what is disk management. This is the partition related, so we can able to do these things. Okay. Guys, understand what is partitioning? One second. Okay, so when you do partition, compulsory you have to tell what file system it is required. For example, you see here it is what file system it is having, NTFS file system. What is this file system, guys? File system will tell when I do drag and drop, but no use. Just keep changing. The file system will tell how to store data in the device, how to arrange the data, exactly say how to arrange the data in the device or a drive. Like you store data in pen drive or hard disk, CD-ROM. You have to store data, right? So how to put it? For example, you have a clothes. How you arrange the clothes in your wardrobe or suitcase or a bag, right? That is the arrangement. So based on your arrangement, you'll get a benefit. You can able to put more clothes, maybe less clothes, maybe no clothes. Okay, so depends upon how you arrange it. Okay. In Windows, mostly we are using NTFS. Currently, we are using NTFS only, but we have a FAT and NTFS, two file systems are there. FAT means file allocation table. FAT means file allocation table. In a FAT, multiple versions are there. So FAT 32 support maximum 32 GB. That is the last version, 32 GB single partition FAT 32. NTFS support more than 2 terabyte, up to 2 terabyte, and latest versions are more than 2 terabyte. And some textbooks saying 18 EB is a NTFS single partition support. NTFS having certain features as compared to FAT. This is NTFS, this is FAT. Can you see there is a security button, quota, compression, indexing. By this you will get it very simple way. Okay, security does not mean virus or antivirus, guys. Security means allow access or deny access by other users. Okay, other users other than owner of the file or a directory or a certain service. Okay, so only you can allow or deny the access to a particular group or a users using security feature. Compression, you can compress the data so then we can save more space then you can store more data. Quota means disk quota. You have a 200 GB hard disk. You have a secondary user, so you want to give only 20 GB out of 200 GB. So the guy can able to store only 20 GB in the 200 GB disk space. That is called quota. So you will get guarantee 20 GB, but only 20 GB. So that is called a quota. Indexing, it index the data, so then we can easily search for the data. Okay. Next, encryption. So we can encrypt the data so other users cannot able to access your data without encryption key. Okay. Yes. You have a memory cards. Olden days, we have a 2 GB memory card, 4 GB memory cards, or even 32 MB memory cards also there. MBs, MB size memory cards also there. So usually people use FAT file system because FAT is a more convenient file system, support for a multiple type of devices and different type of operating system. Okay, so they use a FAT file system to read the content in the drive memory card. Okay, but nowadays the FAT support up to 32 GB single drive space. Okay, so then now memory cards are coming with more than 32 GB. 64 GB drives are there, 128 GB memory cards are there, 2 terabyte maximum size is 2 terabyte is also available in market. So your normal file system not useful. So then people use exFAT. exFAT is introduced for this type of cards only. Okay, so what is exFAT? Extended FAT file system. It is okay. It is we can get more better. Like you purchase a memory card, like a 64 GB memory card or a 256 GB memory card. You insert in your mobile. First, it will ask like a format with exFAT. Then automatically it will format with exFAT. Your file system is exFAT. So you can store very big files, not like FAT cannot store big files, but exFAT can store big files. It support a larger size of the memory card, partition size, like memory card. Next one is resilient file system. So you can store the data into the drive, and if you store the data into the REFS file system drives, so this is specially for people read the data, write the data. Maybe the data can be possibility of corrupting data. CRC is a cyclic redundancy check, is a algorithm to prevent data from corruption or a check data is good or corrupted kind of stuff, or recovering of data is possible. That is a resilient file system. In Linux and Unix systems, we use different file system like ext, ext2, ext3, ext4, XFS file system. In network sharing also we use different file system. So NFS sharing, CAFS sharing kind of stuff. Network file system, NFS, network file system, CFS, common internet file system. Even the devices like a DVD, CD also having some file system like a universal disk format, CDFS kind of compact disk file formats also there. So these are about your file systems, guys. So, so that's main important. So what is the hard disk and different type of interfaces like a SATA PATA interface hard disk, SATA PATA interface hard disk, and next one is what is the disk management, how to do the partitioning, volume, extending volume, simple volume, primary, extended volume, and logical drives I've shown. Okay, GPT and MBR also shown, and what are the file system also shown. The last one is SSD and records, but Once I told about SSD, I will switch to operating system. Okay, I will stop here and no. We'll continue because SSD is a very small topic. Why we take another 15, 20 minutes? Take break better. So can I continue with SSD guys now? Guys, see, look at here, hard disk. This is your secondary storage devices. Of course, normally I'm talking about a hard disk. This is how hard disk is look like internally. Okay, so we have a hard disk, part interface, SATA interface, hard disk are there. Inside a hard disk, you have a plotter, spindle motors, and there is a actuator arm, actuator header, read and write header kind of stuff. So these are the interfaces to connect your hard disk to your motherboard. Okay. Different sizes are there, 2.5-inch sizes, 3.5-inch sizes are there. 3.5, as I said earlier, it is a desktop related. 2.5 is better for a laptop and mini PCs kind of. Okay. So we have a PATA interface and SATA interface to, for a hard disk connection. Okay, and this is SSD, solid state drive. So when we started like in a diploma and also when we started learning computer part, always there is a abbreviation about a SSD, BIOS, SMPS. You know the abbreviation, you pass in the computers. You don't know abbreviation, you know the um, very good knowledge about a hardware, you will fail in the examination. So that is the way. So anyway, we are got this information. So anyway, SSD, solid state drives, is a NAND memory type. Normally, data stored in the hard disk on the platter. In SSDs, data stored in the chips. Both are non-volatile memories. Both are non-volatile memory type only, but there is some specifications. NAND memories, main important is SSDs are NAND memory. Your memory cards, pen drives, eMMCs, all are NAND memories only. SSDs are lightweight, small in size, easy to transport, less power consumption, very high speed data, read and write. Data we can able to read and write, data transmission. Suitable for operating system and applications. Faster booting, faster applications you can able to get there. Okay, sorry. So suitable for operating system and application. Not suitable for storing data. Why? You can store the data, guys, no problem in it. But you have a huge amount of data. For example, for me, I have a huge amount of data in my H drive. You see, it is a 500 GB hard disk, 531 GB partition, not hard disk, entire partition. 200, this is 200, plus this is 200, 400, remaining is this one. So 531 GB out of 531 GB, it is total it is occupied around 500 GB data is occupied. It is all our virtual machines related data only. Okay. Now you want to store that kind of data, it is very difficult. The cost is very high for a SSDs. Okay, and there is a two type of SSDs, and cost is also different from one to another. Like you can go to SSD. So I will go to Amazon internal SSDs. So you can see it is a normal SATA type interface. 240 GB SSD normal SSD 240 GB 1838. Now it is reduced, I think. When I purchased last time, that is 3000. Okay, now it is reduced. See, it is. Okay, that is 3000. So this is a 100 GB 3240. Okay, so I will show you this first. This is NVMe M.2 type of interface. It is SSD 100 GB. It is showing the cost like this. You can go to 1 terabyte 6000 is showing. The original cost is by package it is 12,000. Some cost is there, and it is after 50% discount 6,500. No problem. I am going with some. Yeah, I will type some different components. See, 500 GB 2832. So mine is internal hard disk, internal sound card, solid state drive, optical, internal memory cards, internal hard drives. Okay, guys, this is a motherboard. Like you can see, 3.5 means desktop hard disk. Okay, laptop or a 2.5. You can see laptop or a desktop kind of stuff. Compatible device is laptop. So 1 terabyte desktop. 1 terabyte desktop, which is laptop. So better search is like this 2.5 HDD. It is not even showing properly. Normally it is available, but it is C. So what is this? 1 terabyte. You are getting 4,000 like this. Unit is cost, it is showing higher, little higher, because you will get by 3,000 like that. You will get this hard disk from 3,000 in a 2.5 inches only. I'm not talking about 3.5. Okay. It is a very less cost. But guys, see the difference, cost differences, but speed varies. Compared to normal hard disk, compared to PATA, SATA hard disk is faster. Compared to SATA normal hard disk, SSDs are faster. Compared to SATA interface SSD, NVMe M.2 interface, that is PCI interface SSDs are faster. Okay. So obviously, is compared to SSD to hard disk, SSDs are costlier than hard disk. So you need a more storage than compulsory required. Need a more storage, so better to store in a hard disk. If you do not have a secondary drive, then purchase a one external hard disk to store all your additional data. This is SATA interface SSD, another in SSD. So guys, this SATA interface SSD, you will be connected to your motherboard. So I will show you that SSD, SATA SSD to motherboard, not cable, motherboard. So this is normal SATA cable. You can connect like this to your motherboard. Okay. Direct cable connection is there, or some interface we have. Even in a laptop also, built-in connector is there. This is NVMe type. The second one, NVMe type. it directly, like your RAM, you can insert on motherboard. It's directly on motherboard, not a passes through cable speed. Those many things don't affect on your data. So guys, want to choose SSD, first option is this one. Second option is hard disk. Okay, don't go to this until unless you compulsory require this one. Okay, this is same as a normal hard disk, but speed is different is there. That much small variation, no need to pay more money. My opinion it is. Okay, this is having a really a good variation. The high speed data transmission is there. It directly interface to your hard machine, either on directly motherboard, both laptop and desktop. New motherboard having that facility. Please verify before you go. No guarantee. Okay, but it is SSD. Guys, understand up to SSD? I'm muted. I'm disconnected also. I don't know. If you are not interested, guys, please tell me. We can cancel the class.